The following is not meant for children, has been edited by Cute Stuff, and is brought to you by support from Patreon. Hello, and welcome back. I am MaesterAelix, and this is MaesterAelix's Build Love Time, or better known as MaesterAelix's BLT. The videos in this series are where I go over character builds for some of my favorite RPGs. In this video, I plan to show you, step by step, how to make a character build that I really enjoy, and explain why I enjoy it, and hopefully you will too. Now, I like to make fun and flavorful character builds, something that leans more into ROLE play instead of more ROLL play. However, it never hurts to give yourself a numerical advantage from time to time. Now, my way is far from the only way to build a character. This is just one character, built in a way I think is fun. And hopefully I've done a good enough job that you will want to play this character and enjoy it too. However, feel free to change things to make it a character you do want to play. As I go through this build, I'm going to go into detail into what I've selected and why I've selected the things I do, but what I won't do is read the books to you. First off, that's really boring. Second, that removes your need to get these books yourselves. I love these games and I'd love for you to support the publishers, so please go buy their books. Now, let's get everything set out and enjoy ourselves this BLT.
Pardon me, operator. There is a quintesson over that ridge, and the other bots in our squad are lagging behind, so please regulate your velocity. Additionally, I'm coordinating attack vectors between the soldiers and the vanguard. The quintesson only has a 19.86% chance of escape.
Today's BLT is for the Transformers RPG by Renegade Games. The character today is Booster, the Team Booster. And this bot's ult mode is a Cybertronian jetpack. Deep in the mines of Cybertron, the miners would work and toil away. And while the bots that could transform were seen as a higher status, and didn't need to work the mines, Booster was simply built different. He had been forged small and wanted to help, never looking to have too much attention. So when his T-Cog first activated and he became a mining jetpack, he knew what he had to do. He had to help. Best that he could. And while taking up a mining laser wasn't in the cards for a bot so small, he did have his optics and his mind to help those around him. And help them he did. This week's art is brought to us by Aelix once again, and I am always impressed by how quickly she can turn these pictures around in times of need. So thank you so much, Aid, I really appreciate it. If you'd like a piece of art done very quickly and also done very well, you can reach Aelix yourself by going to tumblr.com/idk whatiswronginmylife2112. So, let's get into the layers of this BLT, shall we? The books you'll need to get from Renegade Games to make the characters I've made them here is the Core Rulebook, Decepticon Directive, Enigma of Combination, and the Transformers 1 Sourcebook. So, let's start at the beginning. Level 1. Influence. While often I make a character and have a specific influence in mind, this time I had two hang-ups in mind. So, little Booster here is getting a full array of 3 influences. The first is Bureaucrat. As someone that's going to lend assistance all the time, this is just a supremely good influence. I do love it so. The second is Morale Booster from Enigma of Combination. Again, Booster's here to help the whole team out, and this does that. However, instead of inspiring speeches or things like that, he's far more prone to boosting morale from a more functional standpoint. Actually, the odds are in our favor, 3,720 to 1. And the last is Security. Security is so good, because it will allow Booster to still transform, even when surprised, which is solidly handy. Hang-ups. With 3 influences, Booster needs 2 hang-ups, and this time I had 2 specific ones in mind. That is, Subordinate from the core rulebook, and Supporting Cast from Enigma of Combination. These 2 together paint a vivid picture of a person that doesn't want nor need to be a leader, or even attention. They are very content to do as they're told and stay in their lane. However, this has led them to become an invaluable member of the team. Origin. Okay, so this time is a tiny bit complicated because there's a lot of small decisions to be made. So, first off, Booster is a drone from Decepticon Directive. This origin is great because its origin perk, A Hint of Independence, allows us to take a drone imperfection. In this case, I went with Weak-Willed, which is number 8 from the list. And doing so, we can take a general perk here at level 1. In this case, I took Freight Carrier from the Transformers 1 sourcebook. This lets Booster use his crew capacity, which is normally designed for human-sized characters, to be used on Cybertronians, which are often larger. This is what will allow him to be useful on regular, large-sized bots. More on that later. As a drone, he also gets the stats and perks of another origin. So, for step 2, we're taking the Minicon origin from Decepticon Directive. This gives the perk Frame Efficacy. Now, what this means is that there's a lot of different kinds of Minicons you can be, and you get to pick which kind. For Booster, a jetpack. So we're going with mini vehicle, specifically an aerial one. So, do be careful to note down all the alt mode stats for that specific set of options. As a drone, we get our choice of essence scores and skills. So this time I went with the strength essence, and I'm putting this build single point into athletics here. Role. Booster may not be big or strong, but what he does have is a towering intellect. He is an analyst. Analyst is one of my favorite roles. This grade gives you a nice variety of perks. The first is the Cybertronian perk, Work the Numbers. This lovely perk allows you to manipulate the initiative tracker, letting things be sequenced better. Enemies go last, repair bots go after damage is dealt, etc. Top notch. You also get the perks Analyze Target and Informed Accuracy, which work together to really assist yourself or your team, especially against a singular large target. The last is Unsurprising, which on his own is very nice, but when combined with Security Influence is just a thing of beauty. This really shows how quickly he thinks because he's barely inconvenienced by being surprised or ambushed. This role also gives us a +1 to Speed Essence, which at this time I'm putting the skill point into Initiative. Second, it gives us a Smart Essence, and I put that skill point into Alertness skill, which is very needed for Analyze Target and Informed Accuracy. Focus. As a big-time team player, I went with the Hub Focus from Enigma of Combination. This is an amazing focus because it's dedicated to helping the entire team. I'd like to imagine that Booster's alt mode has a bunch of comms gear on it as well. The perk you get, Data Bridge, is so very handy. Keep in mind you need direct eyesight for these allies, so it's a good thing you're a jetpack, and a minicon that can dock. Hub comes with a Smart Essence increase, and again I put that into Alertness. Faction. Now here's one that's a little unusual. I went with the Autonomous Bots faction from the Transformers 1 sourcebook, because it not only gives you 2 perks, Stand Together and We Improvise, but We Improvise also provides an additional story point to the team, which I think really helps the teamwork aspect of it all. Gear. For this bot, there's a few pieces of gear that are needed and others that are highly recommended. First off, the needed. In one of your internal hardpoints, we take the support equipment Extra Crew Capacity. This lets us have enough crew capacity needed to carry a large bot. Now, there's some debate whether or not this works, as this gear is temporary and not permanent, so speak to your GM. As it allows for a large bot to be carried by Booster, and without it he can only carry common, let the GM know that you do not intend to swap this out and that you will keep it permanently. In the other internal slot, I went with a photon cannon from the Enigma of Combination. This is a wonderful weapon that not only can laser point a target, but is also very long range. Great for an airborne attacker. And I want it to be an internal slot so it could be used in alt mode. Also, as a mini vehicle, one weapon in your hardpoints gains the accurate trait. I suggest this one. For the externals, I decided to go with a sonic probe, as that is a tool weapon from Transformers 1, and thus meshes nicely with the autonomous bots, and for a handheld weapon I think this bot is less directly lethal. And in the other external slot, I went with a stun grenade. Something tells me Booster strikes me as a bot that would prefer to stun. Essence Step. The Essence Step is a very important step for many a build. And while this time I do not have any specific prerequisites I want to meet, I do want a somewhat balanced build to help keep a good Energon score. But there are some essences that are just more important than others. So, with the suggested spread of 4-3-3-2, here's where I'm putting things. The +4 goes into Social Essence, and while Social is not the slowest essence gained in Analyst, it is still slow. And while Booster is very much not an overly social character, he does get vital information and on occasion needs to get that across. So for skills, I'm suggesting splitting them up between a +2 in Persuasion and +2 to Performance. The first +3 goes into Smarts, and since we want to really lean into the Analyst thing, all 3 skill points are going into Alertness. Quick and easy. The next +3 goes into Speed Essence, and while this also goes up pretty quickly, there's a lot of skills here that are quite good to have. At this time I'm putting +2 into Targeting, so Booster can use that laser better, and +1 into Driving, because he's a jetpack and needs to maneuver himself. And last, but not least, is the +2, which goes to Strength. And if we want that Freight Carrier perk, we're going to have to meet its prerequisite of having a D4 in Brawn. That makes sense, we want to be able to carry heavy things, so to get that, we'll put both points into the Brawn skill now, since we've had no other previous opportunity to do so. Hey, you've made it this far into the video. Thank you for that. Seems like you're liking the video, so please show that you do by hitting the thumbs up button down below. Maybe leave a comment, tell me what you're enjoying. Now that the first level has been established, let's get into the later levels. This time we're only going to level 6 to get the complete build. Level 2. This level's perk, Data Analyst, is all about using computers and extracting information. Now it needs the technology skill to work, so good thing this level gives us a Smarts Essence increase, so we can put a point into Technology. I really enjoy it when levels work out like this. Level 3. Now this level is an interesting one. The focus perk, Sensory Link, is unique in its function, and it actually really helps with Data Bridge. It also very much feels like an evolution upon a Minicon's bonding docking abilities. Overall, not only a functional win, but a flavor win as well. This level also raises our Social Essence, so I think Booster would be best served by putting a point into Persuasion. Level 4. Ah, yes, Level 4. Level 4 lets us pick up a general perk, as long as we meet its prerequisites. Now, I've had a few ideas of what to do here. Check out the alternative section later in the video. But in the end, I went with the perk, Educated. This fits the small Brainiac bot well, and also helps again with story points, which helps the team. Level 4 also gives us the Speed Essence, and this time I think Initiative is the way to go for skills. Level 5. The perk we get this level, Determined Probability, is more than likely one of the best reasons to be an analyst. This is just straight up a good, solid perk. It's useful, it's thematic, it's excellent. And thematically, it fits great after level 4's Educated. This level also gives us a smart essence increase, and to lean into it, I am taking alertness. Level 6. Level 6 is where we get tactical triangulation, which is kind of a focus perk I love. It's an amplifier. It itself does something very nice, and makes data bridge even better, and that in turn makes sensory link even better. So this is one of those great mechanical perks. Plus, it makes the entire team shoot better. Add in your laser bonus, and you really got something there. Level 6 it also increases our strength essence, and since I like staying alive, I put that +1 into conditioning. And at this point, for what I wanted to do for booster, I'm done. I had the hang-ups in mind at first, and the rest kind of just spilled out of there. The idea of a mini-con bot that's also a comms hub is so cool to me. Like a mobile comms unit, which in turn made me think of those military comms backpacks. Then when I realized that the mini-con could also be a vehicle, well, Booster's fate was then sealed. Alternatives. Not gonna lie, this has a ton of wiggle room, and I vacillated between a few options while I was making Booster here. First off, if you don't like my hangups, feel free to change those up, but that was what initially drew me to this idea. Also, if you choose to not have to worry about carrying larger bots, you're going to stick with other common bots or even humans, you could drop the freight carrier, and thus you don't have to have the drone penalty. Or, if you like keeping the drone, you could always change things around. For example, you could be not a mini vehicle, but a power conduit, and at that point you want to get your bonus perk as Spark of the Ancients, because that will help you generate much more power. Additionally, if you're crossing over with G.I. Joe, you could take the influence that lets you get a Joe origin, which you then pick up Scientist, which then when you succeed at your alertness skill test, you'll get 2 stacks instead of 1, which is great. And if you're doing a Joe crossover, you could also pick up the humans that are technicians and rocketeers from Cobra Codex, and that's just a really great combo. What? You're a professional rocket pack user? Well, I am a rocket pack. For a while there, instead of picking up Educated at level 4, I considered picking up an additional alt mode of an armor recall, and either being an armor module or possibly a handheld shield. Which, fits the theme of being worn, and I really liked that. And last but not least, if you want to change up an influence, there's always War Vet for the bonus to your alertness, but I didn't really feel the need to do it for this one. And with all of that being said, here's where I'm going to say thank you for all of you joining me today. Please remember to like, comment, and of course subscribe. It's a little click for you, but a really big deal for me, and I greatly appreciate everyone who does. If you have enjoyed this video, check out the links down below for links to my artist, my editor, and of course my merch market and Patreon campaign. My Patreon campaign is where you can get a variety of rewards, including early access to all of my videos. Thank you all for joining me, and I shall see you all on the next one. This is a special shout out to all my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. Aaron Smith, Dennis Detman, Drew Betts, Harry Thompson, Mark Milius, and Takashi Yamato. Thank you all so much. These videos wouldn't exist without you.